All right, what's up, beautiful? It's your girl Chanel Amir back again with the latest episode of the What She Grows Through podcast. Woohoo! I'm here today with a special guest, Miss Erin from Journey in Her Shoes, and I love how we met. So I'm heavy on Clubhouse, and that day I just had the best day, and I was getting through to people, and then I just get this friend request from my podcast page, and I just knew that Erin you heard me on Clubhouse. So I'm looking through her stuff, and I'm like, yes. So I had to reach out, and she said that she found me through the podcast. So that was just everything and beautiful. I told you before, when I just see those downloads, that just be everything to me. Sometimes I don't even post, and then I still see that people are listening. So it's just like a motivational thing for me. So just get excited. But I end up making a new friend, and I had to bring her on the show to share with you all little gems and stuff, and our growing relationship. So yes, if you want to take it from there, Miss Erin, who are you in this moment? We can just get started right away. Who are you in this moment right now?
Okay. First, let me say thank you for bringing me on your platform, and thank you for being great at what you do and showing us ladies that it's okay to love ourselves. So that's what made me. I don't remember exactly how I came across your page, but your content is what made me go ahead and start following you, and I'm happy that I did because I met a new friend. So I'm excited. I am Erin King, also known as Coach K. I am the founder of Journey in Her Shoes, which is a women's empowerment life coaching business. I do individual coaching and group coaching for women. I help all women. Let me say that first. But I specialize in helping Black women. I specialize in helping Black women embrace their journeys and overcome their own personal traumas to become the woman that they are destined to be. And I'm also a single mom, and it's lots of things that I had to go through and also grow through to become Coach K, because Coach K is what I call myself at Journey in Her Shoes. And I'm just happy and excited to be able to help women get through some of the things that I went through. Of course, as a life coach, there's many different life coaches out there. And when I first thought about being a life coach, my first thought was, girl, who is going to listen to you? Like, why would anybody listen to you? But that reason alone is what makes me a great coach, because I've been through those toxic relationships. I've been in I'm a domestic violence survivor. I have lost a baby. I have a family member who was sexually assaulted, and that is the reason. Some of those are the reasons why I became a coach, because I didn't want another woman or girl to feel the pain that I felt. So in 2017 is when I felt like the life that I had built shattered. I was pregnant, and I was bleeding internally, and I didn't know it. And as moms, I'm a single mom. I think I said it already, but I'm a single mom. So, you feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. So I'm at work, and, my side is hurting and all of these things. And I kept putting it off. Like, I'll get to it later. I'll go to the emergency room later. And my other job, I work at the hospital. So I'm already at the hospital. I'm like, I'll go when I get off. But something inside of me is telling me, like, no, go now. And long story short, what I didn't know that then was my stomach was entirely full of blood. And then the doctors they rushed me to emergency surgery, and they told me if I would have waited an hour, I would have been dead. And within that, they also told me that because my tubes ruptured, I would no longer be able to have kids. So, I spiraled after that, trying to heal, trying to process the fact that if I wouldn't have taken care of myself and thought of myself first in that moment, who would have took care of my kids? And just trying to heal physically and mentally from the emotional stress and trauma within that. I found out 6 months later that I had a very close family member that was sexually assaulted, and just seeing her go through the different traumas and the self-hatred and the self-doubt and being suicidal and being hospitalized in the world, and people around her just expecting her to pick up and move on as if nothing happened. Or even within my own story with the different things that I went through, it's like, okay, well, it's time for you to move on now. No, you have to acknowledge what happened. You have to let yourself feel that pain and not ignore it, because 2 years after that, so that happened in 2017, my life completely shattered, the life that I knew. And it wasn't until 2019 that I decided enough was enough. I was suffering in silence. I was getting up as a mom, that doesn't stop, but I had to really figure out what it is that I wanted for myself. So those are all the things that I had to grow through to become Coach K. So now I can reach back and help those women who are facing some of the same things that I face, and let them know that if you're a single mom, one of the things I needed to know as a single mom is you can make it. It's gonna be okay. And even within like the domestic relationship, I had to learn to walk away. I had to know that I'm worth more than this. I'm better than this. I don't have to stay in this situation just because this is what's happening in front of me. And even a toxic relationship, you think, coming from a domestic violence relationship, I was thinking that, the new relationship that I was in was better because that person wasn't putting his hands on me. But emotional abuse is still abuse. So those are the things that I had to grow through.
Listen, see, you're already through, like you're already on it, because like I had a list of questions for you, and I'm over here looking at my questions. I'm like, okay, well, how am I gonna like rearrange this other question that you just answered? Like, okay, well, I mean, you're already on it.
Sorry.
No, that's good. Like, you're really on it. So I definitely wanted to just tap a little deeper onto a couple of the things that you said. I was writing notes because a lot of the things that you said resonated with me. And that's why I started the podcast on what she grows through, because of course we go through so much as a Black woman. Like, we go through so much, but then, like you're saying, suffering in silence. Like, we tend to do that. We always tend to suffer in silence because we're afraid of sharing our voice, or I guess depending on who's around, like being afraid of if that person's intentions are wrong, you know what I mean, and how they view you and all those types of things. So I just wanted to touch base on that with suffering in silence, because even up until this point, I feel like I suffer in silence a lot. And now I'm learning to use my voice and actually get those feelings off my chest, and then align with other women like you and the women who are listening to this podcast to be able to share our story, have a voice, because anything that comes out of our mouths, it matters, you know what I mean? And we have to get that out in order to grow, in order to heal. So I just love that you were able to take a lot of the different things that you went through and you were able to turn it around. That comes with the whole mindset shift too. You were able to turn it around and figure out a way that you can help other people. So I'm not even going to get into that word philanthropy, but it's almost like that, because not only are you trying to heal yourself, but you're also trying to bring other women along. And I love that, because that's how I felt. I knew that I wasn't the only one that was going through stuff. So I wanted to be able to share my platform with other people so that we can align with each other. And it feels good once you actually like share your story, you know what I mean? Like it's like you said, a weight is lifted off your shoulders because the weight of the world was heavy on your shoulders. So being able to tell your story, that's amazing. It really is. And I'm so happy that you're able to use that and turn it into a passion to be able to help other people. That is just like love. And then even like toxic relationships, I don't know, we can go into that. Like toxic, domestic, especially as young women, some women who haven't had like, fathers in their lives. I didn't have a dad growing up, so I had to look towards my mom on how she interacted with other men, you know what I mean? But then that wasn't all the way healthy. So I really didn't have like, a path to go on. So when I was into little boys and stuff, and they're into sex and like, basically using me and my emotions, or you think that you're in love with someone and then like when you're with them, they make you change who you are and you're still trying to figure out who you are. You know what I mean? So now you're doing things like in hopes to pleasing them. But
Right.
then even the domestic, I've been in that, like, in college, I was looking back at it, I never put myself in that category as, a domestic violence survivor. Yeah, I didn't think about that until you said it. And I'm like, wow, I am too, for real, because I went through a lot. And that's just part of my story that you said. And this is why we were supposed to, like, we were destined to meet, because look, all of these similarities, you know what I mean?
The divine connection.
Exactly. Do you want to touch a little bit on that, on your why, on who you are and how you're able to share that with other women, share that with the world, as a life coach?
Sure. So again, back in 2017, right, I thought I had this life that, I thought that was it. I had worked through being a single parent, and I come from a two-parent household. So, when I became a single parent, I really thought my life was over. And then through other relationships, toxic relationships, people telling you, who you are, what you're not going to be, how you're not going to survive without them, or nobody will want you after them. Right. Sometimes you tend to carry those things with you. So in 2017, a lot shattered for me. I woke up after, after all of those things happened, and I woke up and I would look in the mirror and I wouldn't even know who I was. Like literally, I just see a complete mess. So from 2017 to 2019, I suffered in silence. I kept everything inside. For my kids, I would get up and I would show up as mom because that's what I had to do. But outside of that, I was pushing everybody away. I come from a huge family on both sides. I had people to talk to, but even within that, I still kept everything inside. And you kind of touched on that already, because from one, you don't really, some of the things I went through, especially the things that happened in 2017, I didn't know the answers to them. So how could I open up and talk to somebody and then they turn around and ask me questions? I didn't have the answers for them. I didn't have the answers for myself. So that was one reason why I kept things to myself. And then the other thing that really impacted me, and now that I know that about myself, I try to, even within my daughter, I have a 14-year-old daughter. I try not to show up so strong. So you hear a lot. That's a strong Black woman. That's a strong woman. And, you take on that role. Like, I have to be really, really strong. I have to show up in the world this way because that's how they perceive me. And taking on that, I think that's another reason why a lot of women suffer in silence, because you have to be strong. I'm a single mom. I'm the only one in this household. How can I be weak? But not knowing that's not weak. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. Give yourself time, give yourself grace, be patient with yourself, love yourself. And those are all things that I had to learn and work through, grow through. And then moving forward, when I started journeying her shoes. So the reason I started journeying her shoes is because I didn't want another woman or girl to feel the pain that I felt, because at that time it was unbearable. Like I didn't even know who I was. So going through from 2017 to 2019 was pretty dark for me. And even like within making journey, I was working with another coach because investing in yourself changed my life. Loving myself enough to invest in myself also changed my life. So within working with this coach and building a foundation for Journey, he told me to, I needed a bio picture. And I searched through 2 years of pictures and I could not find one of me smiling, not one picture. And then it really clicked for me, like you were really struggling and suffering. So now Journey provides a safe space for women to open up that's non-judgmental, and where you have to feel comfortable to be able to open up, right? So we embrace that. Everything that I needed in those couple years or throughout my whole life, basically, I am that person for someone else. And I let them know that it's okay to go through that. It's okay to cry. It's okay if you feel broken. It's okay if you feel lost, if you feel confused, but embrace your story. And that's like Journey's motto: embrace your story, own your story. Don't let your story own you. So if you let your story own you, you are stuck, you are stagnant, you are confused, you are lost because you haven't made peace within yourself first. And once you start to embrace your story, like you said in the beginning when we first started, embracing your story jumpstarts your healing. What I learned was when I did start to talk about what I was going through, I started my healing process. So now I own my story, I embrace my story, and I empower other women to own and embrace their stories too. So that is pretty much my why. Also, I want to build a community of women who love and support each other, because I think that's missing too. Like we're not in competition with each other. Mm-hmm. If I know something that can help you, I'm going to share that with you. If I've healed from something that is tearing you down, I feel like it's my responsibility to reach back and grab your hand and tell you, hey, this is what I did to get through my journey. It may not work exactly like it did for me, but here is what I did. And it's up to you whether you want to, take that on or whatever, but at least I put it out there for you. I'm not going to watch you struggle with something that I healed from if I know the answer.
Exactly. And we need as many women like you, like in this world, because I absolutely love the trajectory that Black women are on to. We're not looking just competition, like we're not even looking at other women as competition anymore, right? We're learning that we have to do this together. Collaboration, I think, who said this? I don't know. But collaboration is the new currency. Like that's the new thing that we're on, because we really need to be around other like-minded women and help pull each other up. So I love that you had said that. You also talked about you said the strong Black woman, and I want us to continue to try to cancel this notion of being a strong Black woman, because we don't want to be strong all the time. Like I want to be soft, I want to be gentle, right. I want to be nurturing, but I want to be around other people who allow that to happen for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to have my guard up. I don't have to worry about what other people's intentions are. And that can go into relationships also. Just being able to just be you and be you freely without the struggle of being of being strong. Like, yeah, we know we strong. We know that. Let's get past let's get past being strong. So I definitely love that. I was writing a lot of stuff. But you were talking about investing in yourself and how that changed your life. And that stuck with me because my last real relationship was my son's dad. And I don't even remember how long we were in a relationship together. But once I left him, I had to figure out who I was. I've always been in relationships, I realized. And that's trauma for real, because you're trying to attach yourself onto someone else to define who you are. Like, oh, I'm a good woman because this person says that. So me being on my own, I had to really sit with myself, and that's where I found myself. And honestly, cannabis also, I'm not going to say that, but that helped me to actually calm down, because I'm always in my head. My thoughts just go crazy like all the time. So I was able to actually calm down and realize, like, what do you like about yourself? Like, what brings you joy? What do you like to do? Like, I love being a mom, but I love other things. So being alone allowed me to figure out who I was and what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be and how I wanted to show up, And now that you're comfortable being alone, you're mindful of who you allow in your space, because now you know that energy is contagious and all that. And as much as we're trying to piece ourselves together and heal and do all this inner work, we are not looking for somebody else to come in and try to like break that up, like tear that apart, because that's not happening. You know what I mean? So I just love that. And I think that's what sets a lot of entrepreneurs apart and other people who actually know who they are, because you have to be brave enough to figure out who you are. So, I mean, we could put the brave on the black woman, like, more the brave black woman. Okay, we could do that, instead of like the strong black woman. So I absolutely, I love what you're saying. Like, everything is resonated with me, and I know, beautiful, if you're listening, it's definitely resonating with you too. So this is why I just love hearing other people's stories, because then you see all the different similarities with each other, and then you can voice, your side of things and how, like, your perspective of things.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about mindset, how you're able to look at things, like, say, all the things that we went through. We struggle because our mind, or how we were viewing it, our minds wasn't, we were looking at it from a different view. But once we actually sat with that and opened up and shared our emotions and our feelings and things like that, now we're able to see it from another side. We're able to see with fresh eyes, basically, and realize that, we only got this one life. And we're blessed to still be here, and we're blessed to be mothers, So it's all about how you're able to look at different things, look at the world. So it's just really important. I just wanted to get your take on mindset, on how, like, you were able to shift your mind to be able to be vulnerable and brave enough to share your story, so that you can get other women to share theirs also.
Let me just say, I love everything that you just said, and I definitely can resonate with everything that you said. So, on your journey, there's going to be a lot of shifting. So your mindset is one of the things that absolutely has to shift. You have to acknowledge where you are, right? You have to acknowledge something hurt you, something broke, something is keeping you from moving forward. And then you have to accept where you are, right? So now that I've acknowledged it and I've accepted it, that doesn't mean I have to like what's going on, but I at least have to accept it so that I can move forward. And that is where your mindset shift comes in. So that day, I don't remember exactly what day, but I I started investing in myself, and I put my kids through coaching first, and I absolutely loved his program and the things that he did with my kids. So I ended up investing in myself as well. And that's so important because you're worth it. And that was like a shifting point for me. That was a mindset shift for me. I had to realize in order for you to show up for your kids how you need to, you have to take care of you. So that too was a mind shift for me. Just knowing that you're important enough to do those things for yourself. So going back to what you said, I'm a mom and I love being a mom and I thank God for my kids, but I am also Erin. So I'm a mom, I'm Erin, I'm Coach K, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm a cousin, I'm an aunt. But what is my identity outside of that? Who am I outside of those things? And going back to another thing you said, in 2019 is when things started to shift for me, when I had to quote unquote check myself, like, okay, enough is enough. We've been here long enough. I'm tired of this dark place and it's time to move forward. But that time I spent alone. And although, yeah, it was lonely, and you're looking at things, you're looking at different relationships, you're looking at social media, you're looking at everything.
I'm a videographer. I'm a wedding videographer. So I have to literally be up close and personal of other people's happiness. And I just be like, I can't wait till it's my turn,
Right, my turn.
Yes, but I know that I'm going to wait for the right person, because look at me now, 2 kids in.
Exactly. And he's coming. The right person is coming for you. You just have to be open to embrace it when it comes. And that's why healing is so important, and shifting your mindset and your perception. Because if you stay in that, if you operate in that place of pain, so let's say I'm your coach, right? And I didn't heal from things from 2010. I'm going to pass those things off to you, whether I know it or not. And have you ever had a phone call with somebody and they were really upset and you were happy that day, but by the end of that phone call, now you're irritated, you're mad, you're frustrated because you take on things from other people. So you have to spend that time alone. You have to check yourself when you need to, because we're not always right. I had to learn, I had to see my part. See the part that I played in my own hurt. Yeah, you went through those toxic relationships, but a person can only do what you allow them to do after they've done it the first time. If you allow it the second and the third and the fourth, you're playing a part in your own hurt. You know what I mean? So I had to go through and figure out what's my place. What do I want? Where do I want to go? What am I willing to accept? What am I not willing to accept? And another thing that helped me change my mindset is I have a daughter. She's watching everything I do. And she acts like me already. So if I don't change what I'm doing right now, I don't want her to feel that pain. I don't want anybody to feel that pain. So that also helped, along with me adjusting my mindset. Sarah Jakes, I don't know if you listen to her.
Yes, my idol. I love her.
Me too. On my worst days,
if you ever
yes, Sarah is one reason that journey exists. No lie. On my worst days, I would listen to her 3 or 4 times, because I just needed something to get me out of that dark space. And still to this day, I start my day with something uplifting, empowerment, or empowering, or something that's going to start my day off with something positive, so I can keep that up. And I notice on the days when I don't do that, my days are off. So I don't know if I answered your question, but I think
you answered it. You went above and beyond, because now I feel like we can just tag team back and forth. A lot of the things you're saying, I'm like, oh, that's a good one.
Right, confirmation.
Write that one down. Yeah, when you said that, waking up and starting something, doing something, making that point to do something empowering so that you can get your day started. That's where I felt the biggest shift for me. And that's whether it's podcast, listening to different YouTube like motivational speakers, and then especially Clubhouse because that's live. It definitely helped me in so many ways, and I do notice when I don't, I'm in my head, and that's when the weight starts like coming back like on your shoulders, and you just think of all the things that you got to do and stuff. So just doing that, making it a habit basically of pouring into yourself, because I think what they're talking about now is, you got to make sure that your cup is overflowing and you give from the overflow. You can't pour from a cup that's almost empty. You know what I mean? Like, because then like you're depleted and things like that. So that's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to continue to overflow my cup, overfill, however you say, fill my cup up, so that I can give to other people, or just show up. People, how my personality is, like people know when I'm off. And I don't like that too much because it just reads all on my face. So I'm just trying to be, the best that I can be. Like, we don't, everybody gets the same 24 hours. So it's just like, how are you going to use your 24 hours? And then when you said you have a daughter, honestly, that shifted for me because now I have a daughter and I see things so differently than when I just had a son, and she looks like me a little bit, like,
Yes.
so it's just like I'm petrified, but then also like I'm excited of where I can parent her. Like, all those things that I needed growing up as a little girl, like those affirmations, just saying that you're pretty, affection, like different things like that. Her dad is going to be in her life, so she can get that love from, that aspect. So I'm just happy that I can give that to her, but I'm also like afraid of, all the things that she's gonna have to figure out on her own. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there, because you talking about your daughter is 14. Like my daughter, she just turned 1, little baby girl. So
Going back to something that you said, so my daughter, as they get older, kids in school can be mean. So I believe you have to build them up in the house, so when they go outside, they can, those names or those perceptions or whatever it is they're being called or they're facing, they can withstand it. Like sometimes if I hear her say, first, let me go back. So in those phases, in those years where I was struggling with myself, even like my weight, this is the heaviest I've ever been. So sometimes I may not say stuff that's so nice to myself, but not realizing if I feel like that about myself and she looks just like me, how do you think she's going to feel about herself? So I would hear her repeat some of the things that I said or that myself, and it's like, wait a minute, no, I don't want that for you. So we started doing a thing like if I hear her say something negative, she has to give me 5 positives about herself. So we went through that for a couple of years. Even my nieces and my little cousins, we do that. So now she'll walk past me and say, I'm amazing, and I'll be like, yes you are. But building them up is so important, because girls, like, yeah, we went through stuff when we were in school, but it's different now. They have all of this social media. People are recording things. They have the things that they're trying to keep up with on TV. They just need to know that they're important, they're beautiful, they're powerful, they're capable. So yes, pour all of that into your baby girl.
yes, I'm so excited for that. So yeah, this was really nice. Do you have any advice for other Black women who are listening to the podcast? Any gems to drop for them?
Absolutely. One thing I would like to say to any single mom or any mom, period, your identity outside of your children or your responsibilities matter. You have to figure out who you are and what you want, because if you don't figure that out, somebody will tell you who you are and what you're gonna accept. Set healthy boundaries. If somebody is overstepping or crossing you and you don't like it, you're not comfortable with it, you're allowed to set a boundary so that you feel comfortable. Boundaries are for you, not for the other person. Just be kind to yourself. Know that you don't always have to show up so strong. You don't always have to go through what somebody is dishing out to you. Love yourself enough to walk away if that's what you need to do. Set a boundary. Pour into yourself. Be open to embrace new relationships. There's some pretty dope women out here, and I am just now learning that, because I wasn't always open to embrace other people, but I'm happy that I did do that. And one thing that Journey is doing is called it's a group coaching program, because I believe sharing our stories and telling other people where we have been is empowering, because you can learn from me as your coach, yes, but you can also learn from other women and their stories. I think it's important to connect and open up with other women. Know that you don't have to suffer in silence. One of the hardest things for me through my journey was asking for help, and not only asking for help, but receiving help when it's offered. So know that it's okay to not have it together all the time. And in order to become her, her means her excellence rediscovered. The light is still in you, regardless of whatever you've been through. You just have to rediscover it.
Yes, I love that. And show up for each part of yourself. Like,
Absolutely.
Erin, show up for the businesswoman, show up for the mom. Like, we're doing a lot, but make sure you're giving, everything is in harmony with each other.
Right.
I don't even want to say balance, because sometimes like you got to do a little more over here than you do in here. But as long as they're all in harmony with each other, that's the keys to success to life.
Absolutely. I love it.
So how can our viewers get in touch with you? How can they follow you? Throw in your social media handles and all of the things.
Okay, so you can follow me on Instagram, and it is Journey in Her Shoes. Also, I have a Facebook page that's Journey in Her Shoes too. Both of those are business pages. If you are on Facebook, I have a private group. It's called I Choose Me, because as a woman, you're gonna have to choose you. That's private, and I'll add you to that if you need. I post daily and on Instagram and in those groups. I have something called On Your Story Spotlight. So I spotlight everyday women that are showing up in the world and owning their story, because it's important to let other people know that they can make it. So I do have that. The website is www.journeyinhershoes.com. Journey is spelled with the EE on the end, and I look forward to connecting and meeting all of you. But just give yourself permission to heal, to pour into yourself, to connect with other women like you, so that when you're feeling off, they can pour into you too. And even coaches need coaching too.
Yes, exactly. Definitely that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. And I think that's a wrap.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Recording stopped.
We did that.
I appreciate you.
We did that. I know, right? Really?